Welcome to another episode of my Explain Yourself. My name is Joey Galvez, and we are here to talk about 2025. And we got our pal JL, and we have Benjamin W. Morris here in the house. How you guys doing? Hope you guys had a wonderful holiday season. Thank you guys for hanging out. JL, man, how's it been going, dude? Thanks for
I am filled with cheese and confused. I don't know what day it is.
Cheese? Well, I've got some cheese for you here, buddy.
No, I'm filled with cheese too. Oh, look at that. That is amazing. Is that a stress ball of cheese?
I got this big ball of cheese.
I love that.
It looks like cartoon cheese.
That is something that I would show you and you would cringe about and be like, JL, why?
Right? So how's it going, guys?
Like I'm rubbing off on you.
And that's probably bad. That's probably
no, it's probably good. The world needs more cheesy people.
Well,
it's debatable.
Sorry.
Ben, how are you doing, man? How's your holidays? I hope you guys got everything you wanted.
We got a lot of great presents. We had a white Christmas, the perfect amount of snow, not too much to be difficult, but enough to be, festive and everything. Nice. And the Bengals are still alive in the playoffs picture. So I'm so far everything's going pretty darn well.
There you go.
No, I don't. They're not doing bad, but I was referring to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh,
are you talking
I thought you were making a joke.
No, I was. It was. Oh, okay. They don't all land.
It was a bad joke.
Oh. That was what we call it Peter Pan.
Yeah, well, I don't realize how much. There's sometimes people don't actually. They're like, yeah, I think the Ohio has like the Browns or something. The Cincinnati doesn't actually do that well all the time.
I mean, honestly,
people are just,
I don't know anything about sports, so
yeah,
that's fine.
No, that's why I thought for a second there are people who are just like, yeah, there's a couple teams in Ohio, right? I don't know what they're called. So,
in fact, if I knew anything about sports, I probably wouldn't have tried to make a joke. I probably would have just chimed in with something interesting and informative. That's not true. I think no matter what you bring up, I'll try to make a joke. I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Yeah, no worries at all. But we thought it would be cool since there's not a ton of campaigns going live during the holidays. It's not generally the best time to do that. To have some other creators on, just talk about how 2024 went, if they want to do that, or really to fill us in on what is coming our way for 2025. So, JL, we'll start with you, man. What do you got coming up?
Why do you have to pick me first? Pick all the other creators. No.
Well, it seems arrogant for us to go into our stuff right away.
So, 2024 was an interesting year. We did do a lot of experiments and things that maybe weren't destined to go, spiraling out of control, gangbusters, success, glory town, but things that were pretty cool. I think Mr. Guy 3, finishing that was the biggest thing for me. And it was certainly a weird experiment, but I think by, all standards, it was successful. And, I definitely like your work on that, Ben. The cover was amazing and super well received. I actually have the prints now. We're in the new year going to be fulfilling that. And I've been working on Mr. Guy, believe it or not, since 93, 94.
Wow.
That's when I first started doodling him in my notebooks in high school, And it started as little doodles. I worked my way up to illustration. I even actually did an animation as a student project of Mr. Guy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, it's a big deal to have something that's been in your head that long and then to have finally finished it. And it's a big deal to for me anyway, my favorite part, even though I'm an illustrator and I'm more than, capable to illustrate whatever I write, but to have other people illustrate my character, that was just so cool, to have such a great team of people. And I mean, the roster of people that illustrated Mr. Guy is just freaking awesome. I just feel so good about how that went. It's so amazing.
Yeah, it turned out really good, and you had a lot of everybody kept a really consistent style. Like it was almost like an animation studio where everybody stayed on model so well.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I
With
think
me,
even though people have different like
yeah,
illustration styles,
yeah,
like in the details, um, everyone did, like you said, stay on model in the sense that like the continuity, the flow
mhm,
from one chapter to the next, from one artist to the next was just
Mhm.
awesome,
Yeah,
incredible. You know,
mhm.
that one was really cool to like the artwork and the continuity and how you had it. And just it was clean. I loved it. It was really
I
cool.
mean, in a way, visually, I had to be like an editor, you know,
Mhm.
like a production editor to like make sure to stay on everybody about all the different details and what's coming up and you know what just happened, where this is going, and you know even like how one arc ends. I need to be clear with the person about how the next arc is gonna begin, so that
Mhm.
we can kind of dovetail them. You know,
Yeah, because he's usually like looking over the hill to the next town,
yeah,
kind of, which is
yeah,
always a little tough on an
like
artist because you like, if I only have to draw one panel of the city at the end of my illustrated section, it's going to look
yeah,
really cool and detailed, and then like the
yeah,
next
yeah.
guy's going to be like, "Oh, thanks, dude! I
Oh,
can't wait to draw all
thanks.
those buildings
Freaking
20 times."
yeah, yeah. Um, and I did try to be pretty lenient on the artists as well as I could. I tried to figure out like trick transitions where it's not like, all right, now we're gonna all cry about this for like the next 5 days. Like, you know what I mean? Like things that it's like,
Mhm.
all right, we see him from the back, and you know, something like that, where it's like not where the continuity wouldn't be like
Mm.
devastationally difficult, you know. But
Mhm.
there's a few moments where I gave people a run for their money, and they rose to the occasion and did it well anyway, you know. And I think though being an artist and a writer, it gave me a little bit of, I don't want to say an edge, but like an inside scoop. Like I know what I'm asking
Mhm.
people, you know, and someone who is maybe not an experienced writer might not think about that, and maybe someone who's
Mhm.
not an illustrator might not think about that. You know what I mean? So like having been on both sides of it, I was like, all right, I know exactly what I'm asking you. How do I explain this in a way that doesn't leave you crying and pulling your hair out? You know? Yay, I
Yeah,
can
I think
stop
that's.
talking. Someone else is here. I'm
Hey,
rambling.
I,
Sorry.
look at that! It's
Devin,
Devin.
how's it going?
Going on?
Devin
How you guys doing
Scott.
today?
So we were kind of sorry. I saw that you did. I checked my Discord messages and didn't see anything there. And then you did actually message me back yesterday. But I'm glad we could get you on, man.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I love, talk to my people, so it's a nice little surprise for me.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So we were just kind of going through how 2024 went, and kind of also going through cool stuff to expect from each of us in 2025.
Well, I'll just say for me, it sucked. I've had a horrible year,
Oh
so
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
but it happens. So it's like, well, you live, you learn, you kind of, roll with the punches. So I just kind of, it's like whatever. I tried my best. I really did, but to no avail. It just didn't happen for me this year. So
Are you a Star Trek fan at all?
I grew up watching Star Trek, so yes.
So you know, like the Kobayashi Maru, like
Mhm.
sometimes it's
Yep.
possible to do everything correctly
Yep.
And
and
it's
still
still.
not get the
yeah.
victory you were hoping for. Like
Mhm.
that's part of it, right? That's part of
Oh,
what we do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's
Like
just,
sometimes you got to just learn from the fails and keep moving.
So,
absolutely.
so JL, and I want to, because you're commenting on that. So, when it comes to, let's talk a little bit about Kickstarter. When it comes to like a failed campaign, and you're doing every single thing right, your marketing's on point, you have all the really gorgeous looking artwork, everything's done right, perfect. You're like, well, and then, but you just struggle to get there, and you can't hit goals. So, how do you reel from something like that?
Well, so what David didn't hear is like right before you showed up, it was David, right?
Devin.
Devin?
Yep.
Got it. Sorry. What
No,
Devin
you're
didn't
good.
hear was I was just talking about Mr. Guy, which is one of my oldest projects, and we just finished the third act this year, recently. that was literally Mr. Guy 1 was the first and only Kickstarter campaign that we have ever failed. And it was early on in using Kickstarter, but it was a hard fail. Like, we just did not meet our goal, and we put everything we had into it. It was devastational, you know. But that was also one of our greatest learning moments, was how to, you know, we thought about everything we did wrong, everything we wished we could have done differently, and we just relaunched, and it was successful. We got like double the funding that we had at our previous failed attempt. You know, sometimes the fails are really the best teachers, you know.
So what did you do different?
Timing. Oh, good. Sorry.
Go ahead.
What?
I just want to know. So what was different from the first time around to the second time around that it was super successful the second time?
Well, there's two things. One, automatically on a relaunch, you already had a month of hyping it. So now you have an extra month. So now you're going into month 2 of hyping this live campaign, and everyone saw this fail and was like, oh, no. So then when I was like, all right, we're doing it again, you know, like, we're going to change some things.
Yeah.
We reconfigured it so that we were able to have less of the satellite rewards and have a lower goal because of it. You know, by streamlining our campaign, we got the goal down lower. We made the presentation of everything simple. We also took the inertia from the first failed attempted launch and rolled that right into the second one. We wrote to all our backers and we were like, you guys, thank you so much for your support. Even though we didn't make it, it's so awesome. Wrote to each individual backer. And then we were like, all right, we're going to launch again. If you guys can just throw that same exact pledge into this campaign on day 1, then we'll fund early and have a month of just being able to, you know, go past our goal. And that's what we did. We lowered our goal to be the amount of funding that we got on our failed campaign. And we just started off pretty much already funded. So that was like a neat little, you know, switcheroo, like trick that we did. But ultimately what we did learn is, you know, you have to have your campaign presentation be a lot more focused and streamlined, and make sure that your goal is not what you'd like to end up with, but what you need and is accomplishable. You know, like, you don't want to get your goal less than you need, but you also don't want to like reach for, you know, pie in the sky. You want to be like, this is what I can actually get away with. This is my minimal viable product, you know, and go for that. So that's what I learned, right? Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing that since, and thankfully, I haven't had a failed campaign since. But yeah, it hurt. It stung, you know. Those fails always sting, even if you learn from them, and even if you grow from them, it's still going to sting. But you know, I think if you're a stranger to sting, being in the indie comics world is not for you. You know, like, you need to be able to roll with punches to stick it out in this Wild West industry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was going to say earlier, I think timing just was really weird, maybe the last 2 years, because I've had things have a lot more trouble getting off the ground than I would have thought they would. And then other things I thought, well, let's just see how this goes. And it does way better. And there's not too much rhyme and reason to it.
Yeah.
I think a little bit, things have just been random with, there's just so much uncertainty out there that it kind of bleeds through to all this stuff.
There's a lot of general anxiety in the atmosphere too, especially, you know, and not to get into it at all, but, you know, with like political anxiety and things like that. And I find that when people are scared, the first thing they do is clench their wallet. You know, even if the fear has nothing to do with finances, like even if they're financially comfortable, people tend to spend less when they're anxious. You know, it's and that's actually called it's resource hoarding behavior, which is a response to general anxiety. And we see that a lot of times in like animals. Like if a dog is anxious, it might be more snappy about its food, you know. But humans do that too.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
I totally do. Ben, you had a question before I blurted.
No, it was the timing thing. I was going to say that just I had a campaign earlier in the year that I didn't have time to do a pre-launch properly, and that I still thought I'd get away with it, and it didn't work out at all. And I think I sold more of the books that I was trying to do another print run of through those as add-ons in my last campaign. And I'm just like, I felt like I couldn't give this darn book away a few months ago, and then suddenly, all gone. So
it's wild.
I think there's just a lot of that to it.
Yeah, timing
is. Pre-launch pages were never like as important as they are now that pre-launch pages got real fancy.
Yeah.
Now it's like you have to have them, and people have to know about your product. Like people are pre-shopping just based on pre-launch pages.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think it's kind of tough to
go ahead.
Oh, good. Before we move, I think it's kind of tough before where you just had one image. You're kind of asking for some investment for people, but you just have that one image. You can't put a lot of information in it, but you also can't quite give them all the things they maybe want to be like, yeah, I want to follow this. I want to get that email.
Sure.
So I think that they give us a little more to work with. That's a really nice feature.
Oh yeah. Now that they do that promotion page. Yeah. So my question is with that promotion page, because I'm actually literally looking at my promotion page for the next project that I've got going on, and I'm literally at that point where I'm like, okay, because of what you just said, people like to look around and people are like wanting almost like pre-shopping. So would it make sense to put pricing of your actual items there before, or could it possibly hurt your campaign?
It could backfire because here's the thing. The point of the information on the pre-launch page is to get people excited to come look at your project. And then you have an entire project, a video, a whole page, and the rest of everything to get people to feel like your prices are worth it. Whereas if you're on a pre-launch page and you have your prices there, I feel like there's some people will be like, yeah, that's fine. Cool. $40 for a comic. I don't care. But some people are gonna be like, why should I pay $40 for a comic? Without knowing the story and the rest of it, you can lose that extra leverage of like, this is why, or whatever. I did want to ask though, and I'm sorry, Devin, I immediately jumped into Kickstarter when you said like rough time this year, because that's where my head is. But is that what you had a tough time with? Was it campaigns and?
Pretty much. Really, I guess it's a little bit of everything. Between freelancing and my campaigns, I think I ran 2 campaigns this year, maybe one on my own. Can't remember exactly, but it seems as if everybody was struggling, no matter what the problem might have been for them.
Yeah.
So I had a really rough beginning of the year, just getting gigs so I can finance my work, and then it seemed like it got a decent surge for a while, and then it just became quiet again. So it's like, all right, well, maybe, my campaign will work itself out and maybe kind of fix this little dip. Nope. It actually did not, because I ended up failing on my campaign. And then I, for whatever reason, was like, okay, well, that shouldn't be a big deal, because right after mine failed, a bunch of other ones that I was attached to just so happened to fund on Kickstarter, as I'm an editor on a lot of different projects, so they literally pop up all the time. So it's kind of hard not to see my name and say, hey, I know that guy. So it's like, all right, my project didn't fund, but over 40K worth of projects funded, but my name is there as editor. So it's like, well, that's kind of a win, but not directly for me. It's not that it's not that I'm trying to get that win for myself. It's nice to have wins, but I'd rather see the people that I work with, get that respectively. So that was really my whole outlook on it. Everybody was struggling. Everybody, even without the politics in there, financially, everybody was just kind of clutching on to what funds they had to support or buy or whatever it is they felt deserved that money. And I'm kind of the same way, so I can't really complain too much.
Yeah, there's not a lot going around money wise. It's like hard. So
and we could have been in a very
don't have money getting thrown
in terms
at
of
them.
unrest. People I think were like, this could get really weird. I need to stock up on like non-perishable food and I mean I laugh at it. I'm like, yeah, it feels like there was. I remember listening to like New York Times podcast, and they're like, this could get real weird, guys.
Yeah,
And I thought, yeah, it's not unreasonable. I was like, where do I get ammo for my Red Ryder BB gun? I might need it.
Oh my god! Just don't shoot your eye out.
No, we found. Well, actually, we don't. We found it. We found one of those in our house. Actually, our house is really old. The guy that was here before us was a hunter. We found his first BB gun was up in the rafters of our basement.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
And my wife was looking up the serial number on it, so it actually pretty much matches up with the time frame of A Christmas Story. Like this would have been that exact BB gun.
Well, I hope you didn't shoot your eye out with it.
Not yet, but I haven't tried to use it yet. So there's a chance. There's a chance.
Yeah. Just don't shoot any icicles, you know.
No, I hadn't thought of that.
I just recently literally watched. I watched the second movie of the Christmas Story. It was pretty freaking awesome. It was like,
yeah, it was really good.
It's really good. Like surprisingly, really good. Gave you a lot of the same elements of the first one. It was really good.
I thought they tied that together really intelligently. I thought
dude,
that was smart.
Spot on, like the way they did it. It was.
They're lucky that dude looks kind of the same, given it's been like 40 years.
Totally does look the same. It's funny. It's crazy.
The actor that plays Ralphie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures.
I mean, he looks old, obviously, but he'd be like, yeah, that's that guy.
Exactly like an adult Ralphie.
He was one of the guys in Elf, the movie Elf as well. He was one of the.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
that's a Christmas movie. My wife loves it.
Yeah, he was.
I don't like it. I tried to watch it again this year, and I'm like, I'm really going to give it a shot. And I'm like, yeah, I don't find this appealing.
It's because that's who you are. You're elf. Yeah,
I'm an elf.
You're the elf.
Be in that movie.
And I'm just kidding. You're just.
Yeah, I don't know who I match up to. I don't have that Will Ferrell energy. I'm pretty comfortable saying that.
Yeah, that's true.
But
says Christmas Story has 3 movies.
Yeah, oh, this is
do they?
Oh, I think they did do a different one. It was kind of a.
Oh, it was, but that one doesn't count, though, right?
You don't count it. Okay.
We don't count that one.
Well, clearly,
I feel like it's on like the Halloween continuity. There's like a few different reboots. They roughly.
Some of them kind of stand out from the others as less attacked.
Yes. Yeah.
Yuki stayed up. Yuki was going to go to sleep and then found out that we were streaming. So Yuki stayed up to hang out with us. So I'm honored.
Thank you, Yuki. Appreciate that. Awesome. So Ben, how about you? How was your 2024?
Some wins and some losses. The August hardcover, I kind of was a little bit hobbled, and I didn't have a lot of time to do relaunch like I wanted to because I didn't want to start it until we fulfilled the Zoop campaign. A lot of hiccups there, but I wanted to make sure those books were out before I did anything with it. But that kind of, as that dragged on, it was like, okay, I kind of wanted to launch this like 4 months ago, and that just wasn't working out. So that didn't go so well. But the lead into the new Scarlet Twilight went really well. Couldn't be happier about that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to get that story started. I actually have some artwork for
very cool.
The pages that are going to be in the actual.
That one did really well. I think that was one of your it may not have been your most funded campaign, but it was your most successful, if that makes sense.
In some ways, I think it's disparate, like proportion to like how other campaigns are doing. Mm-hmm. I think it did perform a little better than I thought it would. But yeah, so this is like the first and
I think that's
pages of the first issue.
I think that's interesting because what you did differently from some of your other campaigns is you got rid of all kinds of bloat, like all that extra stuff that some of us like experimented with and we were like, okay, cool. Lots of people funded this tier, but nobody funded this one on like 2 or 3 campaigns. I'm getting rid of that one. So you got rid of all the bloat.
Yeah, I want to make that real simple. Like I feel like there's a little bit of I think I said this on our on the Discord a few days ago, but somebody was kind of saying like I'm just really trying to simplify stuff. I'm like, yeah, my gut tells me that's the way to go. I feel like it's not enough to drive away anybody who's interested in a book, but there is a little fatigue when you're like, oh, there's like 30 options here. It's like it's cover A and B and C, but not X.
The beginning of 2024, people really loved all those options. They really wanted a lot of options. They wanted a selection to look through, right? And
then that's about attention span, right?
As we got right,
by the end of the year, attention span was just like nope. you have 4 things on there, I'm not even looking.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to a diner and the food is literally like every meal you can possibly get in a restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah, and you
The
just can't
menu's
decide
like 12 pages long, and I'm like,
You just
this
stare
is
at
a
it and
lot of
zone out.
information.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
start crying.
See,
Somebody order for me.
when you go to those restaurants that have like 12 pages, be scared.
Yeah.
Because
So-
there's a reason.
Oh no, there's the Greek food section. There's the
Oh,
breakfast that's all day.
Conversely, though, sometimes I hate when I go out to a like restaurant and there's like 3 options, and I'm like, shit, I don't like any of these options. Like, what do I do? Like, I just got to get up and leave, or do I just order something I kind of don't like and deal with it? You know?
No, we don't do that.
Can you take the cheese off of this one and the bread off of that one, and
Yeah.
make me a 4th option out of all 3?
So, but
That's
there
what
is
I hate.
also there's something to be said about an escalating options, what I like the
Mhm.
value stack, where like one tier has like this option and it's $5, and the next tier has these 2 options and it's $10, and the next tier is like 3 options and it's $20, and it makes sense. It's when you
Mhm.
have like 5 $20 tiers that it's like, nope, I can't do that. You know, like
Yeah.
because now they're
I've forgotten the details of
they're
the first one
lateral.
by the time I get to 5.
Yeah,
That's what makes it
it's
tough.
it's just too much to keep track of. Whereas if my only choice is, do I have $20 or do I have $25?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
$25. Okay, I'm buying the $25 thing.
That's a good
But
point.
now if
That is a
there's
good way to
4
look at it.
$25 things, fuck it. I'm done. I gotta go do something else. You know, like too long, didn't read. Right. So like, but there's also something to be said about having the tier that is more expensive that you know most people are not gonna buy. Maybe one person will. Your whale, your hero backer is going to get the top tier. But the reason why that tier is cool is because people go, darn, I wish I could get that. What's the closest thing to that I can get? Right. And so,
Mhm.
like, you see that in retail stores. They have like the really expensive item that like no one ever buys, but that's not the point of that item. The point of that item is to get people to wish they could buy it so that they buy the closest thing they can get to it.
Mhm.
Right. So like whatever the like $500 tier, like maybe one person will get it, but a bunch of people might go from 50 to 75 because you had that $500 tier, you know.
Mhm.
So there's some psychology there, although that only works in a more robust economy, I think. And I think right now, people are scared. There's not as much going around, so yeah, you just got to take all those ideas and compress them a little and like streamline them a little.
Mhm.
I
I think that's what 2025 is going to be. It's going to be a lot of looking back on your campaigns and condensing them, getting rid of the bloat that didn't really work, streamline things, don't have too many like too much of one thing. So I think that's going to be, and then and keep it simplified. There's also there's overcomplication, right? And there's oversimplification, right? So you want between.
You got to find that sweet spot. That
Yeah,
middle ground.
Mhm. Yeah. So stuff for 2025.
Well, I
tell
want
us
to talk about our 2024 first
okay.
because
Oh,
all right.
Collective-
Oh, all right. My
wait,
bad.
you had a
Sorry.
2024?
Geek Collective had a
Whoa.
first 2024, dude. Like we had our magazines, our first 2 magazines fund on Kickstarter. We had one in February of the beginning of the year, and then one at the end of the year. So yeah, we had a huge year where
That's
we actually
awesome.
created our
Yeah.
own stuff. So yeah, man, that was
You pulled through.
they were
nice.
both successful. The first one funded a little bit better than the second one, but you know that usually happens. There's a little bit of a drop off on number 2, right? Also number 2 was also like over 120 pages versus the first one was 30 pages, right? So we had a lot more. It was a big difference, right? That's a kind of a different audience now, because now you have people who really love those big thick books, and you get the
And
kind
can
of
pay more
graphic novel people. Yeah, right. So it was a different audience, and it was something that we thought we kind of played around with. I don't think we're gonna do anything over 30 pages anymore because oh my gosh, it's such a hassle to like deal with that many pages.
Yeah. You could also try something in between, like 40 pages or,
No.
52 or something. No. Okay. No.
No.
Why not? Why didn't you go for the magazine size when you did this? I meant to ask you, but I seem to forget all the time.
So that was one of those decisions that I wanted to make in the beginning of it, because I wanted to do something different, right? I wanted to make it in a magazine, but I also wanted to kind of, do it at a comic size, because I figured anybody who's got a magazine, they all do it at those magazine sizes, but I wanted to play in the comic size world. I was also thinking about even taking our second issue and putting it into a digest size. So before we did, I kind of made a decision not to. I mean, I could still do it, right? Because I could still shrink it down a little bit. And
digest is like the 5.5 by 8.5, right?
Exactly. Yeah, manga size, digest size, somewhere around 5.9. 5
pages can shrink to that pretty well, but then sometimes the lettering is hard to
lettering
read.
can get a little.
Lettering can get a. That's the point. Lettering can get a little weird. So that was one of the decisions that I made. I was talking to Ben, and I was like, "What can we do?" And that was the first thing he said. "Oh, you might need to kind of re-letter some of those things and make them a little bit bigger, because when you downsize, it's gonna make it funky, hard to read." So I was like,
"The illustrations will hold up though, because if anything, the illustration is gonna
it'll
be increasing in resolution as you compress it, as long as you can print at higher
yeah. So when it comes to like increasing something, you lose stuff, right? And then when you decrease, you gain some pixels and stuff like that. So but yeah, we had a successful first campaign, we had a successful second campaign. But it was fantastic experience, right? We experienced doing something in that world, and then doing something in the graphic novel size world, right? So I don't think we're going to go back to that in the graphic novel size unless, we do like a volume of issues and stuff. But I think we're going to stick with this comic size. Maybe if we ever get to like a double digit or like a 20 something issue, maybe on like the 20th issue or something like that, or like 4 year, whatever, I might go back and reprint the issues before that in a magazine size, and we'll probably do like some really cool premium like matte finish or something. We'll do something fun with it, but I intend doing it this way on purpose, because I figured if we did, we can always go back and revisit doing something like that and creating something fun for people. Like, maybe we could play inside the margins, right? Keep the pages the comic size, but do some really cool artwork or some behind the scenes kind of stuff in the margins to kind of give some people some fun stuff to kind of look back and give people more of like hey, it's not just a reprint of that thing, it's something new in a different size. Cool, I'll grab this one too, right? So that's one of the reasons why I was kind of giving us more options to do like that too. So I don't know. We're trying to play in these different sandboxes a little bit, and kind of experimenting and see what we can do, right? And I guess that kind of leads into what we're going to do into 2025. But I'll let you guys go with what you guys are going to be doing in 2025, because we got a whole bunch of really cool stuff. Geek Collective is going to do a couple of different things. We have a couple of teams that we're going to be actually publishing their books that I didn't write, I didn't draw, I didn't do anything. We're going to be doing some of their stuff, and we're going to publish it underneath Geek Collective's name. They're publishing our publishing arm for the first time. So we're going to be doing something really cool with that. One of those stories has to do with the elf, the Lyriel, our elf that we see here in the front cover there, and as well as inside the second issue of Archetypes. So we're going to be taking that character in that world, and we're going to be doing a story about that world, and it might be a little NSFW. So we're going to kind of play in that world a little bit with that story, with that world. We're keeping this thing going. What we have up on here I didn't want to jump into this. I wanted you guys.
Oh, sorry, man.
I'm gonna do it anyway. We are going to be.
He's like, I'm going to let you guys talk.
I know, and then Ben throws our stuff on there, and I keep talking. Um,
We'll
so
go back. We'll go back to-
so
There we
we're gonna
go.
do make 100 of the of some trading cards. And this trading card idea is going to be really fun because we first time around we had some trading cards and everybody was going to get a trading card in the first archetypes campaign, but we had an issue with the mail and they never came and they got lost in the mail and I emailed them back and forth and they were going to make me pay for like a whole new set and I was like, I'll just, you know what, let me figure something out. Let me figure out, because if I'm just gonna go back and purchase these all over again, it was like $200-300 worth of stuff too, and I freaking lost out on that, dude. So yeah, it sucks. I $200-300 in the hole. No, I paid for it, and I don't have it. I didn't get a refund. I can't. You know what I mean? So
I mean, I'm glad it wasn't like $2 or $3 grand, but still,
I know
200 or 300.
So still, it still hurts, right? Yeah. So. Which kind of sucked because what we were going to do with those cards is we were going to overprint and get some new designs, and we were going to give those out in our second campaign, which it didn't work out that way because we couldn't do it. I was going to go and purchase new ones, but I was like, no, maybe we should do this really cool project, do some trading cards on their own. If I'm going to go back and purchase them anyway, do that on their own, and then maybe we'll do some overprinting, or maybe we'll do something later, and then offer these to some of our people in the next campaign. So this one's really cool. Good night, Yuki. Thank you for coming.
Good night, Yuki.
So we're gonna do this one. If you want, you can scroll down and take a look at some of the stuff that we have that we're offering. So what you're gonna get this is kind of like a collector's pack, you know, like the booster packs that people get. You're gonna get 3 common cards, 1 special glow in the dark standard card, and then you're also gonna get a chance to get 1 of 2 of our rare glow in the dark metal cards. And that's a 1.
I want a glow in the dark metal card.
That's a 1 in 5 chance. So if you buy 5 of these booster packs,
you are definitely get one.
You are gonna get one. I will make sure that absolutely. If you buy 5 of them, and I see that you have 5 of them, you're automatically gonna get one.
What if I buy 1 and throw you an extra $5?
Yeah, it's a 1 in 5.
That kind of breaks the system. I don't know.
Break the system, pal. You almost broke me just now. So 1 in 5 chance. So if you did get 5, then you're probably going to most likely get one, right? So there is still small chance that you may not get one if you buy 5, right? But there's going to be 10 of each design. And we're gonna give those away. So it's really, really cool. That you can scroll up and take a look. This what we're looking at here is so I'm gonna do something. Here's another really cool piece of this thing. We're gonna do a little bit of a DIY kind of thing with this, and I'm gonna make a booster pack packaging out of paper. And I'm not going to use some of the paper that I have here. I'm actually going to go buy some recycled paper because I want this to be, as, green as possible. And I want to, kind of give back. Well, since we're printing all the time, I want to kind of do what JL and them do with their One Tree Planted is. So we're going to try to do is we're going to try to use recycled paper. But what we're going to do is we're going to make some paper booster packs, and I have a mock-up here of our booster pack. This is what it's going to look like. This is going to be the actual look of the design here, and it says you get 4 cards per pack. You have 6 to collect, and you have a 1 in 5 chance to get that card. We have some really cool designs on the back here as well. Fun tells you all the fun stuff that you get inside as well. So this I'm also going to get to seal these. So when you receive these in your package, these tops will be sealed. Everything will be glued and stick together. And I thought that was going to be a really fun idea to offer those to you guys. So that's going to be coming to you guys in 2025. 2025. I'm also going to do something separate from Geek Collective, which is a kind of like a punk rock zine. So I don't know if I shared any pictures with you, Ben. I'll share one now.
You showed me some a while back. Let me see. I don't know if I can find it quickly.
But yeah, we're gonna do a really cool punk rock zine. This one's super punk rock, so it's gonna be like a propaganda political So if that's not your bag, it may not, you may not want to check it out. But which is why it's not going to be a Geek Collective branded thing. It's going to be my own brand. It's not going to be.
Do you want to throw this one
Is
up?
it going to be on your own campaign?
I'm probably going to make a Kickstarter page for it by itself, so that so nobody confuses it with me, nobody confuses it with the brand.
Are you going to talk about it to previous Kickstarters on Geek Collective, like, hey, this is this thing on this other brand that I'm doing, or not even?
Yeah, we'll talk to people about it, but if it's not their thing, you know what I mean. I don't want the
turn people off.
I don't want to turn people off because this is going to be super like political and crazy, like punk rock style, like super punk rock style.
Yeah, I did find that image. If you want me to throw it up,
yeah, please.
If you don't like Earth and you don't like, if you don't hate bigots and like Earth, like, don't fucking be my customer. I don't care. I don't want your money. Like, go fuck off. But you know what? I've gotten a lot more support because of that.
Yeah, so this is the cover we're going to do, and this is going to be a real DIY zine. So I'm also going to print this on recycled paper through my, like, I'm going to print it on my printer, like my home printer, then I'm going to take it probably to like a Staples, and then do mass printing with different colors of pages. Like the covers might have a different color cardstock, and then the interior pages will just be regular pages. So it's gonna be really like super DIY punk rock fanzine kind of thing. So
love it.
That's awesome.
Other than that, we got a couple other things that we're doing with some people. We're going to be doing one with CJ Hudson, and then we got a bunch of other stuff that I think like 6 to 7 campaigns that we've got planned that we're going to be running. We're going to run another Archetypes issue 3 sometime in the late spring, early summertime. So it's going to be, we're going to be really jam packed with a lot of stuff. All right, your guys' turn.
All right,
I want to hear from Devin, because
let's go to you, man.
Devin has spoken the least, so I'm curious. What are you doing?
I'm a big observer.
Sorry, guys.
So it's all good, but I'm trying to keep it kind of light next year, just because 2024 was rough. So I'm going to start the year out with a book that I wrote for somebody else that was called Pantheon. It's coming of age, like kind of superhero book that I want to say hits Kickstarter mid-January, something like that.
Is there a pre-launch for that up now?
This January?
There is. Yep.
Like a month?
Yep, not a month. Barely a month, really.
Half a month?
Actually, a couple weeks from now. So.
But you're not running the Kickstarter, right?
No, I'm not running that.
Writer on it, did you say?
Yes.
Cool.
So, but the first one of the year I'm running, though, is a relaunch of a campaign that failed last year.
Nice.
My Greek mythology Hercules story, The Lion of Olympus. Retooled it a little bit. Still trying to get some extra stuff done. Pre-launch is up for that right now, as you can see right there. I have 3 cover options: cover A in the middle, cover B on to the right, and then cover C to the left. It's a great book. I really love it. I'm trying not to really, what's the word I'm looking for? Redefine who Hercules is, but I'm trying to be more true to who the character is, as opposed to, say, a lot of the media that you see out there where, say Marvel's Hercules is a really aloof, kind of dumb guy. Or, you have all these variations of Hercules,
Kevin Sorbo. Oh,
yeah.
God.
That was my childhood Hercules, and it's sad to see how it ended up as a actor later in life. But I'll let him do him, and I'll pretend that didn't happen. So, this is my first campaign of the year. I'm hoping it goes well. I have we're doing a cross promotion with CJ Hudson. He has a book that's also coming out either right before me or right after me. So we're having a promotional piece. So, you back both of our campaigns and you get a special print that's unique to anything that, we offer. And this will be like a one-of-one kind of situation. So once you get it, we're not printing it again. I'm not
Wow.
offering it, anywhere else. You get it,
Wow.
and then it's gone. There's a couple other things I'm working on that I'm quite haven't figured out what I want to do, but I have my end of 2025 book ready to go. I just can't say anything about it just yet because I have some things trying to work out. But I will say I will be releasing a lot of books through my Substack. I'm working on a Popeye Buck Rogers kind of thing. I did it kind of spur of the moment. I saw that those two are going public domain as of the 1st of January. So I was like, why not? Like
Oh, like
halfway done.
literally Popeye Buck Rogers
Yes.
crossover. That's wild.
It's kind of
That's
fun,
wild.
honestly. I love Popeye. I was never really into Buck Rogers, even though it has everything that I want out of, sci-fi.
I was more of a Duck Rogers person myself.
Oh, yeah.
Duck Dodgers, yeah. I
Duck
grew up with
Dodgers,
that.
yeah, that was it. Duck Dodgers.
That was my thing back in the day. Nobody
So
could
good.
ever tell me anything about it. It was like one of the best shows.
Yep.
Like, and had one of my favorite characters, Daffy Duck.
Yep.
It was fantastic. But this is kind of, different. I threw Popeye in the 25th century, with Buck Rogers. So it's kind of more of the same Popeye, but without all the. He's a little bit more grizzled here. Kind of more adult. I'm not gonna say adult friendly per se, but I guess more gruff. It's still Popeye with his humorous. He can do all this crazy stuff because he ate spinach, but spinach for Popeye in the 25th century is different. So I'm excited to show folks how that's going to work. I already kind of talked to the person I want to work with, Brian Wolf. He did
I want to know
24
is the spinach weed? Just kidding.
And it's funny. I did contemplate that for a second. I'm like, I'm sure this would appeal to somebody, but I'm like, no,
me.
I'm gonna do something different.
It would appeal to me.
Maybe I'll do something special just for you.
Please. Make it
Maybe
that.
I'll make you a 1-of-1 print for you. You can, have a 1-of-1 print, and I'll just ship it to you free of charge. But yeah,
no, I'll pay for it.
Oh, okay, I'm fine with that. I like money, and prints are easy to make too, so it's no big deal to me. But yeah, it's just I wanted something fun for my readers that follow me on my newsletter to experience, because I've tried the whole Comic Tone Substack kind of thing, and without really good planning, it don't really work. So that'll for sure, be one of the things that I'm offering. I'm offering paid subscriptions starting on the 1st. So just to give folks that are watching now a glimpse of what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna do like a yearly gift sort of situation. So you pay, you get a yearly gift. Later in the year, I'm trying to get at least a comic in there. So whether it's like an ash can or something you might have seen already that no one else is getting right now, or some kind of trinket like that, you're gonna get a 1-of-1 print. You're gonna get a couple other things. When I do my campaigns, unfortunately not for the line of Olympus this time around, just because kind of cutting it close, and I don't think the person I want to ask to do this cover would be interested right now or is available. But for future campaigns, if you're a subscriber and you pay for my Substack, you'll get a guaranteed cover that's exclusive only to you as a subscriber. And honestly, I think that's good incentive to pay for the Substack alongside behind the scenes looks. You get access to stuff other folks don't get to see. This, that. If you don't want to pay, that's cool, because there's still stuff for you. People that read my Substack will have opportunities to purchase things, whether it's just directly through me or it'll be available to them through some weird situation, like I'll throw a code up and you can use it and whatever on my web store. But I'll iron that stuff out. So if you don't follow me already, go ahead and click the link below and give it a go. But other than that, everything else is just kind of playing it by ear until I can concretely figure out what else I want to do.
Nice.
Sounds good. JL, what have you got coming our way for 2025?
So, there's a lot of fulfillment plans and things like that, which, obviously, like we're still working on Mr. Guy 3. We got to fulfill the side quests anthology. We do have some things that are going to be behind the scenes, more like contract work, stuff that's not really too sexy or fun to talk about, but stuff that is hopefully going to be very big for like 2026. But so February, right? Kickstarter does Zine Quest. I think that's February. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are planning on doing a short Kickstarter, maybe like 3 weeks in February for a zine that is essentially a character that me and a friend came up with. Been talking about it for a while, but we just kind of streamlined the actual idea Friday. And we're going to be running a zine that is this character basically explaining to you, the reader, what is currently imperiling pop culture and the power that you have and how you can save pop culture. And basically, it comes down to deciding to get, 2 cheaper comics from the big 2 or 1 comic from an indie publisher. Throw those big 2 comics away. You don't need them. They're not doing anything good for the world. They're not doing anything good for pop culture. They're not doing anything good for you. What's doing something good for you? Everyone right here and everyone else on Kickstarter. These are the people that are innovating. These are the people whose lives are changed when you buy their product. These are the people who support their artists directly. You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird. I think about this. Like, all these people in the indies that are like, one day I'm going to be in the big 2. And it's like, you are literally the sheep trying to get the attention of the wolves. We are all the sheep. We're this big flock of sheep. And like half of us are just praying the wolves will notice them. It's bonkers. You don't want to get noticed by them. They do not have your best intentions in mind. They don't care about you. They don't care about Earth. They don't care about pop culture. They don't care about the power of storytelling. They don't care. All they care about is money. And that's it. So like this whole thing that I'm working on, it's a zine, and then maybe it's a little political. And I know Joey's like, oh, I'm not even going to talk about the politics because I don't want to turn people. But like I said before, if you're turned off by me giving a shit about my fellow creators, you're probably not going to like anything I make because that's just how I am. I wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm proud of it, right? Like everybody knows that about me.
My zine's
What's this one called?
Extreme though, dude. Mine's super extreme.
So yeah. I mean, you might go over the top. I don't know. Maybe I don't even want to touch yours, Joey.
I don't know. Dude. Oh no, I literally some of the visuals are in mine are pretty they're pretty blunt. I'm just gonna say.
So our working title it's actually a character, this lovable little dog who's taking you through this journey. And it's a short zine, but the zine name is Indy Reedmore and the Hive of Scum and Villainy. Okay. So Indy Reedmore is this little character who's like taking you through, telling us about this hive of scum and villainy and what you can do about it, how you can save the day. It's very, very cute. And so what we're planning on doing is kickstarting it at a really low goal. So it'll be a no-brainer to, just get it funded. It's going to be printed on photo paper, black and white, folded, saddle stitched, 8.5 by 5.5. Real simple production. Everything about it is going to be easy. This way, whenever we're at a con, anything that we sell, we just give them out. Give them out to anyone that comes to any panels we're on. Give them out to anyone that buys anything from us. Just give them out everywhere and just flood any place we go with these zines. And the point is the Kickstarter pays for producing them, and there will be other exclusive perks on the Kickstarter. And then after that, they'll be free and the messaging will be there. But as we always do, anyone who backs the Kickstarter, we have a tree planted in your honor through our official partnership with the Reforestation Heroes at One Tree Planted, global Reforestation Heroes, I should say. We're doing the work, we're walking the walk that we talk. And I think there's a lot of other perks that'll make people want to back the Kickstarter as opposed to just get it for free if they see us in person. But we're also going to make sure that it's available for free. So that's thing one. And then thing two, not far behind it in April, is going to be Tracy Queen Volume 4. So for Tracy Queen Volume 4, we're always marketing it as 1 through 4 because, of course, some people might not have any Tracy Queen yet, and they might want to get all 4, right? So it's going to be Tracy Queen 1 through 4 and the Spicy Zine. So the Spicy Zine is going to be like just pure spice, like just a comic of just pinups of all kinds of extremely raunchy scenarios, and very, very lovingly well done and very respectful. Like everything in there is consent. Nothing is shown to make anyone look like they're less intelligent or less valuable. All of the characters shown in there are, self-possessed and are, in charge of themselves. They are, when Tracy is shown in a gangbang, she is in control and she's enjoying it, and it clearly is her enjoying it. It's not
creepy.
It's not creepy. Like it's so easy to do not safe for work and just be like, I'm gonna bend Spider-Girl over, and it's just like, okay, but maybe like Spider-Girl could like be into it too. Like maybe Spider-Girl could be like, you know what I mean? Like it's just, and I'm not trying
you've made Ben blush.
NSFW and kink is a whole thing. I don't want to shame anyone, but I am saying there is room in the market for it to be done lovingly and respectfully.
This almost sounds like an Always Sunny conversation. Like, no, we don't want to exploit anybody. No, definitely not.
Come on. Man, it's not funny. No, that is funny. But
and it's only 4 chilies spicy.
No, it's because there's 4 volumes. It's 4 out of 4 chilies.
4 out of 4 chilies.
But the joke is like, because each one, right? Like volume 5 is going to be spicier than volume 4.
Oh,
and
that's
volume 6 is going to be spicier than volume 5, and it's like it's a horrible analogy, but you've heard of like when you boil a frog, like as the temperature slowly increases, they don't notice the increase. Whereas if you just put them in hot water, they'll try and escape.
So we're not gonna notice we're
slowly adapting you to spiciness.
We're slowly gonna notice the orgy.
I love it. My Diet Coke went down the wrong pipe, but it was almost a spit take when I started scrolling down this. I kind of regret that it wasn't.
Oh man! All right.
Avert your eyes.
So, and I'm not gonna put anything up on here that's against Kickstarter or YouTube or anything's TOS.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tracy is a character who is an adult star. She's an adult performer, and she is out to find her own liberation. And a lot of people really don't like the idea that this woman is in charge of her own sexuality, self-empowered and intelligent and a good business person. And a lot of people are not cool with it and want to own her and want to take a piece of it or take her down. And so she does what anyone would do. She collects samples from her various scenes and creates an army of cyborg clones. So now she's got an army of cyborg clones, and her conservative multinational crime lord grandfather wants her back. Dickie Doublefinger, who's like the crummy little mainstream porn mogul, wants to own her. And so she's like just surrounded by people that want to own her. So she's just like prepared to kick all of their asses.
And listen, guys, she will give you consent to own and lay her down. And put her down, right?
I am not sure I understood the words that just came out of your mouth.
She likes to be owned in different ways. I guess.
I'm doing some cat math here. I'm about to like jump and miss the counter, Yes, but the point is, it's written by Lindsay G. You know Lindsay G. She's whip smart. She's a feminist. Like, this is, believe it or not, Tracy Queen, the warlord porn star, is super feminist writing, and it's really awesome. And I don't mean it in like the man hating way. Like, no, that's not what I think of as feminism. I think of it as very humanist. It's on point. It's got good messaging, good points to say. It even has some, what's the word, like negative, like reverse negative messaging, like where Tracy slips up and makes mistakes. Like, she's not the perfect character, and you learn from her mistakes as well. It's not soapboxy in that way. So I find it really, as I'm drawing and I'm reading the script, I'm just like, I got to draw that. Wow, this is amazing. And it's not just about the, it's not just about the NSFW content. It really isn't. It's very cool. And that's our girl Tracy. She's a badass. She's a hero. As she would say, I'm a fucking role model and shit, She's a fucking role model and shit. So that's the spiel there. And I think for the rest of the year, we're going to be trying to work on... By the way, is it okay that I'm cursing so much? I don't know.
Yeah, it's all right. It seems
it's all right. You prefer it not, though. All right. I'm sorry. I should have asked. Because some shows, it's we're all sailors here. Some shows, it's like, dude, you're making me blush.
I don't think my nephews watch this. It's cool.
Okay. Sorry. I should have asked that first. But
my 4-year-old is watching in the other room, though.
Oh.
Yeah, but he's your 4-year-old. So he's probably used to it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah, he's the one that he dude.
He could probably teach me some swears, right?
Dude, he literally does. He runs around the house cussing people out. That's never kid.
So then after that, I think we're going to be focusing on trying to publish some other creators' works. For example, in the last, I want to say 6 anthologies that we did, we had continuing 8-page chapters of James Johnson's Bloom Squad, and they were there. It's already done, but they were done black and white. So we're going to try to kickstart that and have it colored as a collected trade paperback, and have Henry Jerome color it. And so we're taking those previously published 8-page chapters, putting them all together, coloring them, putting them in a single collection. And I think that's going to be really exciting, really fun.
Very cool.
And then we've got like a couple other examples like that we might do. And I think the purpose of that is, well, A, it's helping other people by sharing our platform, but B, also it's giving us some time to regroup and rethink and replan on our own projects. Finishing Mr. Guy was a big deal. If that's going to go anyplace next, we need some time to figure out how. And we're going to be working on, like I said, some contracts for some other things. We're putting together a really big cog pitch. We're always working on Children of Gaia. So there's always like tons of stuff that we're doing for that behind the scenes. But yeah, I think working on kickstarting some other people's stuff might be the thing for us. People that we've already published, and now it's just like, all right, let's make that its own book instead of part of several of our anthologies spread out. I think that covers everything. Sorry, I get a little like fast when I'm talking about Tracy. No. Still like a little nervous. Like, it's very vulnerable, that kind of material and content. And I know that we live in a society that generally like appreciates violence more than sexuality, which is just mind blowing to me. But I know that that's like how we grow up. It's how we're raised. It's how we're taught. We're taught that literally killing someone is more acceptable than like 2 people making each other feel good as consenting adults. Like, you let your kids play video games where they're shooting people in the head, right? Like, snipers get headshots and get extra points, and it replays in slow motion. People's kids play that stuff, but like a nipple is like, no, it's so weird. It messes me up to think about how we've come to this place where harming someone is acceptable watching harm, watching, even when it's like Spider-Man harming a bad guy, it's still harm. Like harming someone else's physical body is acceptable in this culture, but two consenting people pleasuring each other's bodies is like, no, that's not okay. We're all gonna get uncomfortable. So like when I talk about that, it is important to talk about, but it is also something that I feel my own, pulse elevate, because it is scary. Like I do know that there's a taboo around it. I do know that it makes people uncomfortable.
It's so weird because everybody everybody does it. And so it's like, why do you get
I mean, pretty much, like some people might not, like even people that are ace though still are aware of it, and I'm sure would still prefer, like harm being less okay than pleasure, right? Like it's just wild that that's where we are as a
yeah. I mean, even when I was a kid, I remember like anything with nipple or something is like weren't allowed to watch that. Although if it ever popped up, I think there were like 3 times I watched a movie in front of my grandma when she was around, and that would be the point. Like Blade Runner, is there's like 2 seconds, but that's when she comes through.
Yeah,
and that was always
like,
again
like
taboo.
like, oh god,
yeah, no, it's horrible. I'm still traumatized. But like my dad would be like, dude, Lethal Weapon 2, like check out what Riggs is going to do to this guy. They just killed his girlfriend. He's going to smash his head in the car door. It's awesome. Like,
it's awesome,
it was kind of
right?
awesome, but like. It's a little that did exist exactly what you're describing. I think when you talk about selling your book, there is a lot of work that you got to do, kind of explain where you're coming at it. Because even like a lot of the stuff on Kickstarter, that's the spicy stuff, is kind of presented without any awareness of the sort that you're kind of putting into it. That you do kind of need to explain that. So there's a lot I think to say when you get into that.
There's a lot of room for people going into that without open eyes to go into it exploitatively and with exploitation as the taboo that is sexy. And I want to make sure, and Lindsay wants to make sure, that everything we do is clearly the opposite. Like we're pointing out exploitation, we're taking a jab at it. And if anything, like it's like, oh well, how come Tracy can do that, but if I try to do that to her, it's not okay? And it's like, well, because it's for her to do, not you. Like it's her body, like it's her, like simple things like that. And we talk about this just came up earlier today, actually. The whole like clothing is not consent, right? Like someone could be dressed really sexy. It doesn't mean they want to be catcalled or harassed.
Or cosplay is not consent, right?
And then people say, you hear it, like you hear a certain type of dude be like, well, if she didn't want that, why is she dressed that way?
Why are they dressed that way? Dude, me and my wife were actually talking about that. How gross, disgusting it is for someone to say, like, oh, she shouldn't have been dressed that way. Well,
could you imagine, right? Some dude walking down the street in like a football jersey, and I just run and tackle him into the ground with everything I have and just smash him into the ground and just be like, well, if you didn't want me to tackle you, why are you wearing a jersey? You know what I mean? Like it's
right.
That would be really hilarious, though. If you're
that would be hilarious.
So that's actually one of our PSAs. Is Tracy tackles this dude into the ground, and she's like, "Well, if he didn't want me to tackle her, or if he didn't want me to tackle him, why is he wearing a jersey?"
Right.
But like things like that are just little like things that we slip in, and it's like there's a lot to think about there. That
and there's
we can't
a lot, right? Because it goes into like what you're saying, like I wonder if there's sex actors and things like sex workers walking down the street, people recognize them, right? And they go too far, they're a little too creepy, or they're a little too much, and it's like, okay, it becomes this thing where the screen, right, is this barrier, but when you get into this place of there's space, and you break that barrier on purpose to just be gross because you're like, well, you're a sex worker, well, why, if you didn't want me to do all that stuff, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so inappropriate and scary, especially when you are that person on the receiving end, right? of
Oh
those.
yeah, I mean, I
Just
can't
because you're
imagine.
putting out this sexy persona or this different this space, right? This sexy space doesn't give anybody consent to be gross or do the things that they're doing within that space.
Right.
And it's you know, there was recently there's some stuff in the news where one of the actresses was in a movie with the director, and some of the scenes he was going a little too far, right? And even then, even when you're an actor and you are doing these very intimate scenes, and sometimes you are you know, unclothed, right? And you have these small little pieces covering you and tape things down, right?
Literally just like a piece of tape. Yeah. If
Literally
even
just a piece of tape.
depending on the scene.
So it's like
Yeah, it's as vulnerable as it gets, right?
you're super vulnerable, and when people take advantage of that vulnerability, man, it's like, ugh.
Not okay. Not okay.
Yeah. I think Devin's got to jump off here soon. So Devin, let's talk a little bit about.
Yeah,
Sorry,
run
Devin.
through. Let's recap.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So let me reshare this real quick. We got Line of Olympus coming up.
Yeah.
Very excited about
That
that.
art
one.
looks
Very
awesome.
cool. Yeah, I love the art and the coloring.
That's
for
the
this.
Hercules one, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And also Pantheon. We finally have this here. Throw that.
Are they
in the
related,
comments as
Pantheon
well.
and Line of Olympus? No.
Nope, two separate titles.
It's just totally modern superhero story.
Yes. So this one was like something, I think I wrote it like the prior year. Now that I think about it, like last December to be exact. And it was like, all right, well, I have this idea. I'm like, okay, I'll write it. Throw me some money, please. So
This is also an all Ohio team, it looks like.
yep.
Awesome.
I think almost everybody
There you go.
was from Ohio. So I'm like, yay, I'm surprised because that normally never happens for me. So to see that happen, and mind you, like I'm a former Ohioan, not that it matters. I'm there like every weekend. It was nice to do something that was more like a regional piece, so to speak, at least in my mind. The project itself might not seem that way, but just from the creatives attached, like it was really cool. So
Yeah, awesome. And then last but not least, unless I'm forgetting anything, is the Epic Fantasy newsletter, which is a lot of great content there.
Can I ask real quick what the logo is on that French fry box?
you know, that's a good question.
Okay.
I
It
didn't
wasn't
even bother
something
to
you-
ask. You know, I just get paid to do things and, you know, let it go over my head.
It's like an FT or something.
Oh yeah, it looks like
FT,
it.
it says, yeah.
Huh. See, you know, I would have never noticed that had you
Zoom
not
and
said something.
enhance.
I personally, I love those little details, and whenever I'm writing something, I usually end up telling
I
people
bet you-
what to put
I
in
wonder
or
if it's
putting it
somebody-
in myself.
You have like a mythology of every single thing that's
Everything.
in your
I was
comics.
just, I know. I was just talking to my wife. I was like, dude, you know how insane the world that JL has built? Like he's done so, like he's went so crazy to like create games within the world that these people play. But you kind of just gloss over some of them sometimes. But he's
I love it.
created these crazy games
I
around
love
it.
it. Stuff in the
Just the
background.
industries that are implied by Mr. Guy's odd jobs he's had over the years is a volume of world building in and of itself.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Thank you, guys. I did not mean to take away from what Devin was saying, though. I just
trust me. Trust me. I think I
love
talk
that
like
stuff.
90%
I bet
of
you
the
it's
thing.
probably somebody's like initials or something.
That'd be great. I hope so.
Honestly, wouldn't be surprised at this rate. I've been trying to throw stuff in the, you know, behind the scenes kind of stuff in my books, and I'm like, you know what? I'd rather world build more than anything. So if it's something super intricate, maybe. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to
Now
get
I
these
kind of
stories
want to
out.
know. I kind of want to know if those fries are good or not.
I think it might
think
also
so.
just stand for like fries time or something, you know, very, very obvious.
Fry time.
French
Sounds
taters.
like a good time to me.
Fried taters.
Fried taters.
Well, clearly they're so good
that's
you
better.
can eat them in space.
I like that.
Though.
Right? You can eat them in space. So yeah, I love that. Very
All right.
cool.
Well, Devin, if you got to run,
most
thanks for coming
definitely.
on, man. It was awesome to talk to you.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
it's
Devin,
always a pleasure to, you know, speak with you guys and just, you know, nerd out for a little bit. I don't appear too often these days. I'm kind of a hermit now, but for good reason. Well, mostly good reason. I promise. So, but yeah, I thank you guys for having me on. Don't have too much fun while I'm away.
All right, break out the party gear.
And I'll definitely catch you guys again later.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Devin.
Thank you. Have a great New Year.
I'm following your Substack now, so I'll get to meet you more.
Oh, most definitely. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, we'll see you later.
Take it easy. All right, let's switch over to a few other things. Just got here. Joey, what do you want to start with for some of the other 2025 stuff?
What do you got on the list?
I got, let's see here. You sent me a few things. I'm looking them up now.
I think we should do a predictions thing, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like 2025 predictions. Let's all, while you're gathering your stuff, not like.
All right. So I've got a question that goes with that. So if 2025 prediction, for the first 4 months of Kickstarter, how successful do you think that it will be to fulfill a campaign in those first 4 months?
Well, it's really interesting because, if he who shall not be named does pass those tariffs, we are all fucked, and there will literally be no more independent industries at all. Like, there's no way that anyone is going to pay for tariffs on paper, on shipping, on all the different goods. Like, everything that goes through Kickstarter will be exponentially more expensive than it is now, and no one's going to pay for it. But I don't think that that's actually going to happen. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's one of those things that was just said, blackadaciously to like get people like, yeah, we're going to do things. I don't think there is any thought or reality behind it. I don't think anyone is going to allow that to pass. But I do think the fear of that being an imminent possibility might trip up a lot of creators. Yeah. And we're going to see a lot of different play with prices and things like that, because no one's going to want to be on the hook for like, yay, I got my 2K goal. Now I'm going to print these comics and then find out that it's actually going to cost $7K to get those comics to people. Because all of a sudden, after the Kickstarter, these tariffs kicked in, and now 2K is a quarter of what you need.
Not only that, how is, okay, let's say tariffs are in place. How do you navigate international shipping?
I mean, my answer is like, so I just kind of don't.
Tariffs.
Yeah,
but I think that's what it's going to be though, because these tariffs, right? It's going to be really difficult for people to think about this stuff. So they're immediately going to be like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. I've already considered it as well as not shipping overseas either.
Yeah, it's just too crazy.
It's already too much to ship. It's already a lot to ship. A really low priced item over there. And I'm just like, is it even worth it? Should I just
I always look at it like this. With shipping out, I'm like, I'm charging the customer shipping. If somebody wants to spend $70 to get this book to Australia, that's on them. If they want to spend it, cool. I'm not gonna. So don't shop with other people's money is some of the best advice I've ever gotten. Like, if something costs $70 to ship from here to Australia, just say shipping from here to Australia is $70. If somebody wants to spend that, that's on them. Cool, whatever. It doesn't change your bottom line. You're still making the same exact amount of profit. You just got $70 to pay $70 to ship it. It's not changing what you're getting at all. Where the question is when somebody pays $70 to ship it to Australia, and now the price jumps up to $140.
That's the worry.
You're on the hook for that extra $70. That's where it's like, oh, okay. So clearly, what we're moving for is to have only ultra wealthy corporate enterprises, and that's it. like no indie anything, no small businesses. Imagine a future with no small businesses, where the only businesses were multinational national conglomerates. Like, that's no kind of future. Like, that's nothing anyone will survive in. So I don't think, I think even people, self-motivated politicians who are trying to keep their own interests, are going to block that. Like, there's enough damage that will do to the economy.
Yeah.
And every economist is like, that will destroy the economy. We will have no economy left if we do this.
Honestly, you want to hear my thoughts about that? I really think that that they did it to scare the shit out of all of the big corporate CEOs, so that they could come grovel to his feet and pay him money, so that he's like, we're not gonna do that, guys.
Yeah, we'll do it to everyone but you. Everyone except
not even he did it on purpose across the board, because he wants everyone to come to him. He wants everybody to come kiss the ring.
I don't want to get,
but we're not
show. I just am saying this is a thing that might happen, and the ramifications might be this. It's important to examine, what do we do if that happens, and what do we do if that doesn't happen?
That's definitely something I'm looking at for the next. I was going to do my next Kickstarter was going to be for like issues 1 through 4 of
Probably
the next
not.
Scarlet Twilight. Now I'm going to what I really want to do eventually is, I feel like the ideal setup for me as a creator is like, I have issue 1 ready. The campaign is for like issues 1 through 4. So at least when we're shipping you 4 books. You're not paying for like 4 different hits of shipping, because that's crazy. But that's going to take a long time. I don't want to do 4 issues and then kickstart it. I'm kind of in a spot where ideally would want to have issue 1 finished, so you can get that right away, have a release that's digital for the other ones, and then when they're all 4 done, which is like the first half of the story, they go out. And that would be something where I need a little bit more of a community around my books. But that's something I looked at as like, that would be the ideal setup. I think with the stuff that we're talking about, which, I mean, I hope the next few months go really well. I think it's important that they do. With all the stuff they're going to change, if things start to go bad, even if, let's assume that everything they're going to change is great. If things go bad in the short term, which is, I think, a possibility for that's going to really affect people's feelings going forward. And so much of the economy, I think, is how people feel about it, and how clear the rules are. So I think they're probably going to need to nail that down pretty well. And that is, without getting into too much of the weeds economically or politically, I think that for us, it's definitely changed it. So like anything that was going to be a really long tail project, I'm going to need to shorten a little bit, because I don't want to start something with exactly what you said. My goal is 2,000, but it's going to cost 7,000 because something happens. That's definitely affected my planning.
Oh, like when someone's on the hook for a successfully funded campaign, but it ends up costing way more than they got funding. Like, what do? You just go into debt for your own.
Yeah,
customers?
I mean, and that's going to be your choice then. Yeah, you'd probably have to do like a kind of, let's figure this out, makeup campaign of some kind where you're offering something pretty cheap, but be like, guys, you got to help me out here. I don't think anybody wants to be in that spot.
If that does happen and cost of production for, domestic indies becomes completely prohibitive, we might just see that final, nail in the coffin of printed floppies where everything just goes digital.
And that's what I was going to ask next. Another prediction here, right? And it kind of goes into not just the Kickstarter space, right, but also their direct market space, because now we're also talking about indie publishers there as well. Because some of the guys that start off, or some of the people that start off in Kickstarter with their books, also go and pitch it to the direct market, and they get picked up, and then they put it out there. So, and that's become part of some of their plans, right? Especially when they create this really cool relationship with these publishers that are actually doing that and picking up these books.
But
so how do you see the direct market shifting with all these different possibilities as well.
I think the first people that are going to go digital are the big two, because I mean,
I feel like they
already
would be the ones who could afford it.
already
Won't.
paper comics are a loss leader. Paper comics are an advertisement for movies, toys, merchandise, etc. They're already a loss leader. They're not making much money on it. It's the margins are so slim, and they are definitely not printing in the States. I mean, they're getting millions of comics from countries where it's legal to completely just pollute the crap out of the planet to mass produce as cheaply as possible. And as soon as that gets tariffed, that's it. They're going to be like, well, nope, we got to stop that. Like, there's not going to be a comic book industry in paper form after that. It's going to have to go digital. I mean, that's like the only.
I think so. So I know that DC, they print in house, and I think Marvel does too. But
really?
I don't know. I don't know.
I thought they
I don't know.
printed
No. But still, paper.
And I don't think that means you still have to get
Even
paid.
if they're printing here, just
there's still gonna
every
be
other part of it, the paper, the ink, the machinery, like everything else is going to
come
be
from other places.
jacked up.
And that's where I was going to go with it. Is even though that some places do that, they're like because over at Bandit Bards, we're also right now, because we're kind of wondering what 2025 is going to get us to, because I work with them, and they are a direct market indie publisher, and they're not like some of these other indies where they're a little well known, right? We're a little bit less known than usual, so we're like, what the F is going to happen, right? And so we are taking measures to possibly be getting some printers of our own, and creating this space of our own, and have an actual brick and mortar HQ with these big industrial sized saddle stitch printers. And but here's the thing, right? We're cool. We're like, okay, cool. We have this ability. We have these grants that we can that we're qualifying for, that we're filing the applications for, and we're like literally taking these steps. But now, if these tariffs go into play, right, we have to think about paper. Yeah. and we have to think about all the hardware and all the stuff that goes with actually making sure that this is sustainable. Number one, for us to rent the space and the equipment and all that stuff that goes with it, because our goal is that we want to bring down the price per unit, not only for ourselves but also for people just like us in the indie community. And that whole business plan of what we wanted to do in 2025 could just go up in smoke when they sign that.
I was talking to someone who worked in recycling, who was telling me that there is such an excess of cardboard and paper that gets thrown out because it's actually. Oh, did we just lose Ben?
I'm not sure. Maybe he just stepped away for a second.
Well, anyway, I was just gonna say that so much recyclables get thrown out because it's cheaper to just buy new paper and fresh paper and import it than it is to recycle paper here.
Yeah.
And maybe if importing becomes more expensive, maybe more stuff here will be recycled. It might be good for the freaking environment. Who knows? Like, it could be this thing that in the beginning, like Ben was saying, it might in the short term mess stuff up, but in the long run might have positive effects.
Yeah,
I'm worried about Ben though.
It is. I know. I don't know where Ben is. Ben,
I'm about to step away and just leave you here to ramble by yourself.
He probably had to step away because we're 30 minutes over, but it's okay. No worries. This is a good discussion, and half of my kids are at my mom's house, so we're good. And the little
so I was just gonna say predictions for 2025 and make it like a short thing, and now we went on this whole tangent.
But these are the things that we, as small indie publishers that are self-publishing, are up against.
We have to think about it. A lot of people don't even realize. A lot of people don't know that their candy's about to be taken away because they don't know how industry works.
Yeah.
small independent creators, we know that this is going to destroy us if it goes through, even if it's just short term. And a lot of people won't survive the short term. And we know that that's not just our industry, that's across all industries.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we know this. Most people who just have a regular 9 to 5 don't have any reason to have to know that. They don't know how this is going to affect them. They don't realize how big of a freaking deal it is. You know?
It is. It's absolutely crazy. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, right. But no, but
we gotta, you know what? People have survived. People have survived.
Yeah.
Freaking literal ice ages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people have survived world wars. People survive nukes. Like, maybe not an individual doesn't survive being nuked, but we as a people have been.
And you gotta look back. You gotta
all
look
of these
back
things
in our history, right?
Right.
Like how many of those, like during these crazy times and crazy things.
It was
like
always the end of the world.
How many magazines died off, right?
Yeah.
Like during that time. How many like
we had some kiddie stuff to take care of here. We had an uprising, and they waited a while. So I thought, all right, guys, get you some treats.
The best uprising, objectively.
A kitty uprising. Well, talking about uprisings, we're gonna be doing some really great stuff in the beginning of 2025. JL's got some great things. Ben, we haven't gotten to hear about what you're doing in 2025 though.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so we have Cobalt Crisis, which is I showed a few pages of that before. I'm working on issue 1. I'm hoping to launch that. I was hoping to build the pre-launch page today. Didn't get around to it. But that's probably going to be launching. I want to say, really hoping to do February. I want to get the first issue done.
Wow.
So that can be, because one thing I did with this campaign, which is kind of a lead in, if you remember Countdown to Infinite Crisis from DC in like the early 2000s, I wanted to do something like that. Kind of multifaceted story that leads into a big event. But I wanted to have the whole thing done so people could, like, one of the things with Kickstarter, as opposed to your shops. I'm sorry, what?
Like jump right into it?
Yeah, I wanted to be like, hey, if you back this, I'll send it to you today. And just trust that you won't cancel your pledge. I wanted to have that instant gratification. Nobody did. But I'm surprised how few people took me up on that. I would say probably less than 10.
Oh, wow.
But I was still able to send out the digital like the day the campaign ended, which at least that was good. But I kind of want to do that for this.
It is weird. It's weird when you tell people like, hey, I'll give you guys a free digital. Just let me know so I can and give me an email so I can send it to you. Like you will be surprised how little people will respond to that or want it.
Yeah.
You're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's harder to give something away than it is to sell it. Yeah. Literally, if something's free, people are like, well, what's wrong with it?
Right.
Like, why is it free? Like,
but then when they're like, you tell them a price, they're like, wait, I wish it was lower price. Wait, what?
Yeah. So I want to find a better way to do that, because I really do want people to read this, tell me what they thought. I think it kind of comes down to finding a way that's not weird. Like if you just put an update, guys, let me know. Nobody feels called out by that. Nobody feels like, hey, they're asking me. But if you really find a way to ask people directly, that'd be awesome. I'll check that out. So I need to find a way that's not like doing that.
I wish Kickstarter would allow us access to the people who like give us pre-launch or like who are backing to their emails almost immediately, right? Because we're going to be getting their emails anyway, right? And if they gave us their emails immediately, maybe they would have to like click yes, allow them to have my email prior to launch.
I think you can, because I was able to email some people during the campaign, because some people have the spam, so they'll post in the comments like, hey, I didn't get this. Okay. And then you'll send them a message on Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah.
And they won't get it. That happens a lot. Yeah. So it's going to spam and they don't know it. But usually under the backer information, it's got a line that's just their, it's usually a Gmail address.
Sometimes.
I just say like, unless they, I will be like, hey,
it'll
dude.
have what do you call it? It'll be like a Kickstarter number and then at Kickstarter, and that's a redirect email. So like, they can choose whether or not to make their information public. And if they choose to make their information not
That's
public,
right. Yeah.
you won't
Sometimes
get
it says
their
this
actual
is
email.
private, but yeah.
It's
So sometimes that did come in handy because there were people they asked to be messaged on Kickstarter, but it doesn't go through. And then I'll just say, hey, dude, I hope it's okay, but this obviously isn't working. Here's the link by email.
Yeah, and I think it would be really cool if they would allow us, right? And it would just be as easy as creating a, when people are looking at you just click yes, allow them to have my email prior to launch or something like that.
Mhm.
All right, once you hit the notify me or something like that weird. But then you're putting on extra work on people where they just click it to go away, right? But if we somehow had access to their emails, then we can, kind of talk to them and then upsell them and do all these really fun things that we could do. We can also give them free stuff immediately, right? Rather than saying, hey, do you guys want to hit me up with this? Give me your email and I'll give you free stuff. Instead, you can just give it to them. And then a lot of times when people receive something free and they're unsolicited for free, and they're like, oh, hell yeah, I like this guy, and they are now prompted to give you a little bit more because now they have a relationship. They're building this relationship with you, right?
So the idea of like the comics exchange where it's like, oh yeah, I'll give you my issue 1 to give to your backers, and you get like 5 issue 1s or whatever. I always do that. I release them as milestones. Like at 10, after 50 backers, you get an extra free comic, and then after 60, you get an extra free comic, etc., etc. Like for things like emailing people, I mean, I guess this doesn't help the email problem, but in terms of like if you wanted like extra free stuff to give people, you guys can always have number 1s of ours from any of our series that you think might be in line with whatever you're doing. That includes like Mr. Guy or Pack or because those are things that like we want to get more audience on anyway. So if you're like, hey, cool, this other thing for free here, like feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I always do that. I have like a kind of issue 1 / art book thing for both of my comics with a bunch of links to like all the places you can find it. I give that to almost anybody who asks.
Nice. Awesome.
That just is like, and it'll link back to my link tree or my campaign page.
Sure.
But yeah, again, it's hard to it's just everything is just like one more step than I think people want to go through, which is fair.
Even just giving something my way for free is like one extra step. Like just being like, oh, what? I have to give you my email to get this thing for free. It's like,
right.
Yes, I know. Your precious email is more important than the thousands of hours of work I put into making this book, like damn you.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to do, but I think that's one of the things about digital that's yeah, no, buddy, you're not the star of the show. But
I think I might disagree.
but
there's a cat on camera. It's the star of the show. That's just
all right. I usually keep them out, but they were freaking out there, and I thought, all right, I'll let this happen. Going on a little long, but for them to be alone. But yeah, I think the digital stuff is ultimately for creators in the space that we're in. I think that's a good thing. I think that's something where it's, if you look at, and I've done really well in the last couple of campaigns doing a really low, like $2-3 PDF for the digital for the lowest tier, and then like a deluxe one with a lot more content. Almost nobody goes for the cheapest one. It shocked me. I was happy to see it. But when you look at, you're doing this on Kickstarter, they take like 50, they take more than 10% lately, honestly. But even with that, if you
and I think Stripe takes a percentage, Kickstarter takes a percentage. If you use BackerKit, that takes a percentage. Like every platform along the way takes a percentage.
Yeah, but I think the digital ultimately, especially if we're doing longer stories, or things that can be collected in a really nice format, especially if you have a ton of extra crap like I always do, because I do the damn thing 3 times before I finish it. That's always cool stuff to have, and I think there's value in getting that, but then just having the regular and digital, because if we can just pay to send out a PDF, costs you nothing. If people want to support you doing that, that's a real good deal for an independent artist. That margin,
sure.
I mean, any company would kill for that.
You're giving away something that didn't cost you anything to give away.
Yeah,
other than production, right?
Yeah, drawing the darn thing in my
I
case.
mean,
But
I try to think of it that way with PDFs. Is like I take it like, all right, if I'm selling this book for $12 and it costs me say $6 to print, then the PDF should be $6. It's because it's the value of the book minus the cost of printing, right?
I think of that, and I
Hard
also, yeah,
sell. It's a
I
hard
also
sell,
think of
but
people. I've seen so many people complaining online, like, I'm just not paying more than $10 for a file, and I'm like,
yeah.
I get that. I do get that.
Part
I
of it
think
is
that's true.
also though the lack of understanding of the difference between
It's not just a file.
mass produced
Yeah.
and like again supporting an artist and an indie and like
Yeah.
you
And
know
that's where I always say that too. I'm like, yeah, you can complain about paying over $5 in shipping or paying over $10 for digital, right? Or something that didn't come out to your standards, right? But yeah, you can complain about that, or you could say, well, I contributed to somebody's dream. Somebody made this. Somebody put their blood, sweat, and tears into this. Yeah, maybe the pages are a little off here because the printer, something happened, or maybe it's too much in shipping. But I'm I'm contributing to that person's idea that came from nothing, and I'm watching it happen, and they went and created this campaign and did all these came up with all these really cool rewards to give to me to entice me to buy their stuff. Like, they did a lot of work. And if I'm giving them just a little bit of extra, and I can actually do it, and that money's not going to take from the mouths of some of my children, my 30 children, I think it'll be fine. I think you're going to be okay. Because you're making somebody's day.
Yeah, I
well,
think that's a little easier for me in that I do everything myself. People are very, it's easier to appreciate that I sit down and made this whole comic than if there's a team, they're like, oh, nobody's working that hard. It's easier to like dissociate things when there's a team. And I think people do get attached to that idea if it's simple for them, which is
I've always
kind of unfortunate.
thought like if something isn't your industry and you don't know how it works, why would you care?
Yeah.
So the thing there is there are a lot of industries that have like dramatizations, television shows, whatever, even comic books about them. You read comic books about cops and firefighters and whatever, like movies about people in this industry or that industry, lawyers, like attorneys, freaking whatever, like, but no one really knows anything about what independent like creators do, or especially like in our like indie comics, like no one who isn't an indie comic creator has
knows,
yeah. what they're talking about.
Mhm.
And so like
I tell
maybe
people,
there needs to be more storytelling.
people like when you tell people what you do, they're like they still make comics.
No, comics aren't those for kids?
Wait, they still make those? I didn't know those were still around.
Well,
Yeah,
some
they're back in the Dollar
like,
Tree, which is good, but
that
Yeah.
right, like people think of comics as a genre, and it's not. It's a medium. There, you can have a horror comic, you can have a romance comic, you can have a historic comic. I'm actually right now working on a historical fiction comic about the invention of champagne. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can have anything that can be a book or any movie can be a comic. People don't necessarily know that. They don't necessarily know what the industry is like. They don't necessarily know how much work goes into making a comic. They don't necessarily know how small the margin is. They don't necessarily understand why a huge corporate conglomerate with investors from all over the world can make something cheaper than you can. They don't get that.
Yeah.
They also don't get that you as an indie are not beholden to shareholder primacy and fiduciary responsibility to shareholders, right? Like, they don't get that means that your message is more pure and free. They don't know that. So how do we make people know that? So that goes right back to my zine that I'm working on for this February, is like and experiment. A little bit of just like storytelling that's meta, because it's storytelling about oh, look at this, you're getting surrounded, these cats.
Well, this is how she asks for food. She just passed me on the shoulder like politely. Hello, I'd like some food now.
Yes, that was adorable.
Yeah, it is adorable.
But so like I want to do some storytelling that is informative to to the consumer, and also put some power in the hands of the consumer, because no one wants to be soapboxed at. So like I need to figure out the angle to make it like fun and empowering, and they walk away feeling more knowledgeable and more empowered.
Yeah.
But also the flip side is they understand a little bit of why it's so hard for us, and why it's so important that we don't fail. Because if we fail, then the only people making comics are the ultra wealthy who are completely detached from everyday people. And that's not good.
Or you have to be from another field with a following to be able to do it, which that's a huge detour.
Okay, Keanu.
You're not going to get the same kind of dedicated creativity. You're not going to get the same kind of purity of message. You're just not. It's going to be watered down and completely just schlocky, right? Like, it's a bad future without indies in it.
Is there a pre-launch for this? This one that you kind of just conceptualized?
I probably will. I have like almost the whole campaign worked out.
Okay.
I haven't pulled the trigger on the pre-launch because there's a couple other people that I need to just get on board with a few things. But honestly, the pre-launch will probably be live in like Tuesday or Wednesday.
That's what I figured. I just
it's
didn't.
Probably going to be like soon.
If it was available, I didn't want to oh, dude, you could have thrown that up there and.
Oh no. So. I would have definitely told you. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. But I'll be making a big fuss about that in the next week or two.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear about it.
Love that.
And you guys, if you're doing Zine Quest this year, if there's any way we can cross promote, I'm happy to cross promote.
My punk rock zine is going to be during Zine Quest.
But that's separate from Geek Collective, right?
Correct.
Are you doing anything with Geek Collective for Zine Quest?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Well, either way, if you want to cross promote, I could always do those. Like, hey, if you back both things, you get this other free thing or whatever.
We do, but that one's gonna be super DIY. So if it's handmade, I'm down. Yeah. If we could do a handmade cross promotion, I'm down with that all day.
Yeah. But my hope for this is that enough other indie creators will also see the importance behind it, that they'll want to throw it in their campaign updates or spotlight it in their newsletters or whatever, and help promote it and just be like, yep, totally. We all need that thing to exist. I don't have time for it, but I'm glad they are making it, like let them do it. So, and I want to see more stuff like that, honestly, stuff that's like, there's a lot of outreach for education amongst peers, other creators. Like there's a lot of, like, oh, this person will teach you how to run your next Kickstarter campaign as a creator. But there's not a lot of outreach to consumers. Like, it's really hard. It's really tricky to figure out how to do that. And it's probably not a moneymaker.
Yeah.
But it is important, right? So it's like, who's going to invest in that? So we're like, you know what? If we could figure out how to make it cheap enough, we'll invest in it. And if it works, we'll keep doing it. Keep doing a new zine every year, every February we'll do a new zine that's about empowering indie creators, and consumers of indie creations.
Hey,
it's
man,
something
I'm down with that all day. Go for it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's good. I'm probably going to do tons of updates. I know, it's impatient. They don't like to share the food. They need to know it's for them.
Yeah.
As much as they're like, hey, I'm not eating somebody else's food, right? But
some courteous kitties.
They are. That's a complicated social structure.
Cat politics is real.
Oh yeah.
The whole thing.
But I'm probably gonna end up sending out a lot more updates than I ever have. Yeah. It was the same when I had dogs, so I don't know. But
I can handle dogs. Me and dogs get each other. We get each other. Cats, I don't understand them. They don't understand me either.
Yeah.
All right, let's let Ben finish this sentence.
Oh, no, my
Gotta
hey,
know
it's
what
my
he's
fault.
saying.
It's my fault I let him in. I'm surprised you couldn't hear him. That's why I was like, all right, I got to do something about
No,
this.
I had no idea.
But yeah, I want to send a lot more updates because I think there is a story to be told there in terms of like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what goes into this. And that can also be something that I think has value. I read a lot of interviews with writers, and they say, like, the coolest thing you never think about is that you get emails every Monday morning with like a couple new pages. And it's so cool to see that. I think I can do that for backers without, maybe I take out spoiler panels or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that not only paints the picture, of the story and gives you some cool things to look at, it fills you in on like, hey, this is how much Ben can do in a week. This is how much goes into it. This is how much time it takes. So you're kind of telling that story and building, I hope, some appreciation for it in a way that's like, hey, this is cool. It's just a bunch of pictures. They're not going to hear about, what's going on in my life or nothing. Like, not that that's bad, but like, it's going to be just to the point. And hopefully that's something people like. I think there is something in that direction you're describing that is good for everybody, is a fun thing to look at. Also is like, hey, this is really what goes into this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and I think even if you're talking about your progress, or if you're talking about what's going on in your life, or if you're talking about what consumers should know about the industry, what really matters is that you do it in a storytelling way.
Yes.
That you make it a fun narrative and you put yourself in the head of the reader. Why, if I got this email, or if I got this zine, or if I got this update, why would I care? Right? I'm going to care if it's compelling, if it's a story, if it's something that leaves me wanting to know more, like what's the next episode, right? So like any update, any campaign, any newsletter is an opportunity to do that, to be telling this episodic continuous story,
Yeah.
And there's so much value there. The hardest thing with that value is to make it something that is compelling. And the compelling part is making it narrative. And as a writer or a creator, like that's what we do. Narration. Even visual artists in comics are narrators. Like we are narrators. We tell stories. Whether you're the writer or the illustrator or both, you're telling stories. And that's the point, right?
Yeah.
So like make your updates a story, regardless of what they're an update about.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and it's also a good way, I think, to, especially if a project's ongoing like mine are, is like, oh, I really like this guy that was in this panel. Is he going to do something? I'm like, yeah, maybe he can have a moment. It's, if people are responding to something I wasn't necessarily planning on it, I do want to, I'm never going to like change the structure of my story or the themes or anything big like that. But I would be like, yeah, people like this dude. Yeah, let's give him a cool thing to do later on.
Or a good send off.
Yeah. No, not a lot of people are going to make it out of my next story. It's going to be pretty, there's going to be a point where it's just like Normandy Beach, and it's going to be a little rough. Looking forward to that.
But awesome. I get it. You got to kill your darlings, right? That's what they say about good writing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's speaking of kill your darlings, we gotta we gotta get this thing going.
It is. What did we go, an hour past time?
Almost. We're coming up on it. Yeah.
Good talking to you guys.
Yeah, well, let everybody know where they can find you, Jay, and all the stuff coming up.
You can find me right here in the pilot seat. I am JL Draco pretty much everywhere. JAYELDRACO on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Blue Sky, Instagram, all the things. But more importantly, Oneshi Press, ONESHIPRESS. We have the .coms, we've got the Blue Sky, we've got the Facebook, we got the Instagrams, we even got the freaking X for those of you nerds who just didn't get with it. You're still there. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's fine if you still use X, Joey. I was just kidding.
I'm not there anymore.
No, I'm kidding. I know. No, we still use all the platforms just in case. We are on the
I don't like
LinkedIn.
looking on it anymore. I don't like looking on there because it just gives me gross stuff. I'm like, why am
We've got Discord. It's oneshipress.com/Discord. You can join our Discord community. It's a really fun, supportive, loving art community. Not everyone there is an artist. Some people are just art appreciators, and that's okay too. What else? Yeah, I guess that's it. Oneshi Press and JL Draco. Just look them up.
Look them up.
Look them up.
Ben, where can they find you?
Best way now, I don't have a campaign or pre-launch live. I will very soon. But best place to find me is this link. It's my link tree.
Oh, I should have thought of that. I do have a
link tree, yeah.
Yeah, just so you can get all my stuff in any format you want it. You can get the
Nice.
Kickstarter page. You can get any of the other stuff I have set up. You can get physical copies. You can get digital copies. So everything's there and always will be. That's probably the best centralized point to find me. Joey, what about you?
Creep on your link tree now.
Well, you can find me at Joey Galvez 1984. That's everywhere. Follow Geek Collective on Kickstarter. Follow Joey Galvez on the Kickstarter, and very soon, always geekcollective.net. You guys are looking for anything that we're doing. I gotta update that page and show some of the live stuff on there and some of the pre-launch pages, but I'm gonna fix all that good stuff so that you can actually go on there and look at it. It'll redirect you, but I'm gonna work on having some preview stuff so that if you look at our website, you can look through some of the Kickstarters that we are working with, and then eventually it'll turn into a redirect link. So make sure you guys are checking out geekcollective.net, and all that good stuff. Follow I'm going to be doing this Kickstarter that we're going to be running the trading cards, and we're going to be doing a DIY package for the collector package that's going to go with these. You're going to get 4 cards. You get 3 common. One of them is going to be a standard glow in the dark, and then you have a 1 in 5 chance of getting a glow in the dark medal. We have 2 of those different. We have 1 of 2 designs that you can possibly be getting. It says 10 random packs in there, but it's really going to be 20 because there's only going to be limited. There's only going to be 10 each of those cards, those glow in the dark metal cards. They're limited to 10 each, so there's going to be 20 of them that are going to be out there. So you have a 1 in 5 chance to get 20 of those things, and we're not going to reprint them. We're not going to resell them unless you guys come see us, in person at a con or something like that. So they're going to be super rare. We're not going to do any of those things again. We might reprint the standard issues of them, but they're not going to be first printings. So you're not going to see this color scheme on them. They might be a different color scheme for a second printing and things of that nature. So get on this one. This is where we're trying to really make these as collectible as possible. We're only going to make 100 of them. So get on it. It's going to be part of a Kickstarter's Make 100 campaign. So check that out. We're going to be doing some cross promotion with our pal Jonathan Hedrick, because he's got a book that's called Capable, and he actually lent us one of his characters here, that magician there in the orange that you see on the page on there now. He lent us some of his characters for the magazine, and we also used it for these cards as well. So we're gonna do some cross promotion there. We're probably gonna do some free stuff and give you guys some really cool stuff there. I think I'm going to create a unique trading card that is a crossover from this campaign and his campaign. So it's going to be really cool. So if you back both campaigns, that's going to go inside your booster pack as well. So so make sure you guys are checking that out. After that, we're going to have a bunch of other really cool stuff. We don't have anything else in pre-launch yet, but we'll have something in February. That zine, like I was telling you, it's called Fallen Society. It's a super punk rock. It's like uber punk rock. Like some of the things, like, I don't know if you've been. Go ahead and toss some of that up there. We put this on here. This is how punk rock it is. Like the revolution will be fictionalized, right? And it's got a TV on there, hypnotizing you. And right here, this is one of the images. I'm like, I don't know, some people may not get this image, but it's gonna be super old school punk rock. You know how it kind of like I used to do the things where I cut and pasted and then taped them on there and then Xeroxed it, right? So I have access to amazing Adobe and stuff like that. So I'm kind of trying to make it look like it's still kind of cut and pasted a little bit. So but we're not going to be doing any cutting and pasting this time around. But it's still going to be in the you're going to get a full page folded in half. I don't think we're going to staple them. We're just going to fold them together, and I think that we're only going to have about 12 pages in this thing. So we're going to probably sell them at super low cost, and then if you come see us at our tables, we will have these on the table, and if you guys want them, we'll probably end up just giving them out for free. But it's gonna be really fun little thing that we're gonna do. It's a little experiment that I'm gonna be doing with some fun stuff. I kind of want to do some things. I might not even put my name on this, guys. This is the kind of thing I might like. Everything in there, literally, like one of the poems in there says it was by anonymous. Like it's gonna be super like.
Well, now I know. I'm gonna extort you.
Yeah, I'm not even. I think it's gonna be by anonymous or something.
I think I gotta take care of some cat. You know they're gonna come after you if you do that. They're gonna be like, "We found anonymous. We know what his
I don't want
to account is."
By an anonymous person, not the anonymous though.
This is anonymous. Expect us.
No, not like that. But
yeah, that's what they're gonna take it. They're gonna be like, "Anonymous wrote this poem. How do we track him down?"
Yeah, we put a little a disclaimer there. It says all of the contents inside this zine reflect real feelings from real people. It says resist, rebel, revolt. I'm telling you guys, it's super hard.
I think I got to take care of some cat business.
I got to take care of some cat business too. Not really.
Sounds good.
I don't have cats.
Yeah.
You can take my cats.
The cat business is already done.
All right, Ben.
The cat business is theoretical. No, symbolic, implied.
Symbolism. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you, Ben and JL. Make sure you guys are following all the cool stuff and checking out the really fun stuff that's happening in 2025. Ben,
thanks for having me on.
That's all I got.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I just want to say thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you for checking out our books.
Happy New Year.
And I hope everyone has a great Happy New Year, a safe Happy New Year, and we will see you soon with more cool books.
Peace out, fam. Bye.